Hello everyone and a massive welcome, or welcome back, to Fallout Play Build Collect. Today we're going to be taking a look at a book. This book is The History of Fallout and it's actually by Bethesda themselves. Let's head down to the tabletop and take a look along with me. So here we are on the tabletop and here's the book. This book came with a special edition of the game here in the UK. And as you'll notice, if we open up, there's no actual manufacturer or publisher listed. There's no publishing date or any information in there. You can see we have this almost false dust jacket type appearance on the outside. So the book starts with some background about the original Fallout game on PC. We take a look at some of the characters. Next we take a look at some of the factions, the creatures, and we can see that some of the creatures that we're familiar with in the modern Fallout games were already here in the original. Section on robots and computers, and the locations of the original game. If you're familiar with the modern Fallout games, you'll notice a few names here. Mariposa Military Base, which of course is famous across the franchise, and Junktown. Of course, if you play Fallout 4, you'll know the tales of a Junktown jerky vendor from the magazines you can collect across the game. We have a guide to the Pip-Boy, and a mention of some of the items you could get in your inventory. And then we move on to Fallout 2. I believe Fallout 2 came out just a year after the first game. Now, once again, we take a look at the characters. And the factions. The Enclave, New California Republic, popular factions. And also, this is the first mention of the Hubologists. And if you played Fallout 4, especially the DLCs, you'll be familiar with the Hubologists. They are Fallout's take on Scientology. In fact, there's a little bit more to it than that, but that's a topic for a video for another time. Here's a look through the creatures of Fallout 2. Once again, robots and computers. And the first description of the special system. Guide to the locations of Fallout 2. Now we take a look at the weapons. There are some interesting weapons here. Maybe something for modders to have a look at for Fallout 4. We can also see some familiar items from the modern games turning up. Mentat, Psycho and Jet are present here. Next up we have a look at Fallout Tactics. This was a departure from standard Fallout games, as it was a squad-based tactical shooter game. We have a look at the characters. And the factions. As we take a look at the creatures here, one thing I thought was interesting is the depiction of the Deathclaw. Obviously very changed from what we see in Fallout 4. But the Deathclaw here I thought reminds me a great deal of the Deathclaws you see in Fallout Shelter. Look at the robot army and vehicles. You can see these walker designs, very similar to what we see in lots of other types of science fiction. And the very junky vehicles in a very Mad Max style. The locations of Fallout Tactics. And then here we go into Fallout 3. Once again we run through the characters, and there's some lovely background art here. This concept art is just gorgeous. There's so much detail in this particular picture, it's always been a favourite of mine. Also like the look of the 50 caliber machine gun emplacement up on the advertising board there. Of course the game itself, Fallout 3, had nowhere near the kind of processing power or resolution to show anything in anywhere this kind of detail. But it was great to see with the concept artists what they already had in their head for how they wanted the world to look. Next up we have a look at the factions of Fallout 3. Let me know what your favourite faction in Fallout 3 was. What type of outfits did you wear? How did you equip your survivor? Who did you enjoy interacting with during the game? Personally, I enjoyed the two alternate versions of the Brotherhood. I thought it was interesting to have two separate versions, almost competing against each other. Next up we take a look at the creatures. We can see that many have a familiar look to us. As you can see here, the Mirelurk, quite a different look in Fallout 3. Now as we take a look at robots and computers, we see pretty much everything on this page survived intact into Fallout 4. Almost nothing here has changed. Even Liberty Prime itself made an appearance. Once again there's a brief rundown of locations, and we can see in the background another lovely piece of concept art, the ruined capital. A look at the newer Pip-Boy 3000. And here we have another wonderful piece of concept art, Rivet City, with some fantastic lighting. More sections of ruined DC. And the wasteland itself. You notice that greenish blue hue that we ended up getting in Fallout 3. And now on to Fallout New Vegas. I know this is a massive favourite with many of you out there. And again we look through the characters. I think it's fair to say that Fallout New Vegas is something of a cult following. Let me know below what you thought of Fallout New Vegas. Was it a favourite of yours? Or did you prefer Fallout 3? We see the robots and computers section, and this particular robot has become quite popular amongst fandom. And locations. And a look at the Pip-Boy 3 billion. The snow globes to collect. Pages here with the cover artwork. And again some of the concept artwork. Of course console power at the time was never quite able to realise this. And now we move on to Fallout 4. Now you'll notice here, even though they give brief descriptions of Fallout 4, there isn't really too much detail to go into. So it's obviously had to be published before the game come out. So you'll see mostly here they're using concept art. There is some absolutely gorgeous concept art for Fallout 4. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend taking a look, finding as much as you can. Really love the picture of Red Rocket there. I love the lighting in the background. The classic garage scene here. I love this piece of artwork too. Vault-Tec rep coming to the door. His little van outside. Codsworth bringing you a coffee. That fantastic 50s retro futuristic look. Another lovely piece of artwork. This image from the side of a vertibird. Not quite sure how Dogmeat. There he is. Not quite sure how he's hanging on there. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the book. I thought this was a very nice book for Bethesda to include in a special edition. I really enjoyed having a look back over the history of Fallout. So how about you guys? Have you got one of these books? Did you get it with a special edition? I know there are some copies floating around on eBay, so maybe you pick one up there. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of it. That brings us to the end of this episode, and as always, a massive thank you for watching. So until next time, stay safe, love your gaming, enjoy your collecting, and I hope you'll join me for the next video. If you're enjoying the content here on Fallout Play Build Collect, please consider hitting the like button. It helps us out immensely. Also consider subscribing to make sure you don't miss out on any of the great content we've got coming up soon.